KRON 4's 1906 earthquake centennial coverage continues, hour by hour. The quake of the century later, presented by PG&E. Now, KRON 4's Mark Danon and author James D'Alessandro.
Good morning. It's April 18th, 2006, 100 years after the great quake that devastated San Francisco. I'm Mark Danon, and we're joined this morning with James D'Alessandro, author of the novel 1906. Good morning, James.
Good morning, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here today. And, of course, you're going to take us hour by hour on the hour in what happened in San Francisco 100 years ago. But before we get into the actual quake itself, I think we need to get a little history of what San Francisco was like before the quake.
Well, it was the most remarkable city. It was the wealthiest city per capita that this country had ever seen. It had an amazingly sophisticated populace, very free-spirited. There was enormous economic opportunity. When you look at the photographs of people escaping the fire, and you look at just how well dressed they were. Every man had a hat on, every woman had a hat on. There were 12 cable car lines. Golden Gate Park was the nation's largest park with 1 million trees from every country on the planet except Peru. Sutro Baths would hold 5,000 bathers and swimmers. And yet you had this dark side as well. They were still shanghaiing men along the Barbary Coast, forcing them to work on ships. They were still selling poor little Chinese girls beneath the in Chinatown. And so it was the best of cities and the worst of cities. I like to call it part Paris and part Dodge City. It's a truly remarkable city that I think we should remember for all the good reasons, all the bad reasons. It's just the most dramatic story in our history outside of war.
And we'll be back with James D'Alessandro in our next hour to talk about what happened next on this day 100 years ago.
KRON 4's 1906 earthquake centennial, hour by hour, presented by